And where better to start than the definition of a project itself? So, a project is a temporary organisation that is created for the purpose of delivering one or more business products according to an agreed business case. Now let's slow down and take that sentence apart. Now PRINCE2 is a non-proprietary method. It wasn't created or invented by one individual, but merely has been built upon best practice. PRINCE2 is suitable for any project in any environment. And the way in which PRINCE2 does this is by differentiating between the management of the project and the specialist work needed to create the end products. And PRINCE focuses on the management of the project. So for example, if you are managing a project in the construction industry, the specialist work would be carried out by individuals with plumbing, carpentry, bricklaying type of skills. And therefore the specialist products, by the same nature, would be, for example, brick walls, installed fittings within an office, as an example. If you are running a project within the IT industry, the specialist skills would typically consist of software engineers, hardware engineers, web designers, and so forth. So the specialist products would be, for example, software applications and hardware, for example. So when you see the word specialist within PRINCE2, it is referring to, in terms of the team, the individuals with the appropriate skills, knowledge and experience, and within the products, those products which make up and contribute towards the end specialist product, which is there to meet a business need. Hence we see the terms here of business products according to an agreed business case, because obviously the end game of any project is to deliver benefits. If it doesn't deliver benefits, then it shouldn't have been started in the first place, as all it is doing is consuming time, effort and resources. Now a project has a beginning and an end. It is not ongoing, so therefore it has a temporary organisation consisting of the people and the team needed to manage the project. And it's important also to differentiate between what's often called business as usual, or BAU, between that of a project. Now the distinguishing characteristics are 1. Change. You see, projects take you from the old system, the current system if you will, to some new change. A new system, a new building, a new way of working, and so on and so forth. A project is cross-functional, meaning typically you will use the skills from many different parts of the organisation, including, very often, skills from outside of your organisation, from a third party, for example, a specialist company that will provide software development products for your project. The other aspect that distinguishes projects are that they are temporary. I've already mentioned that they have a beginning and an end. Once the project has delivered its end product and it's been accepted by the appropriate people, then that product will now be used to bring about some form of business change. So that once the project finishes, you're then into, as we'll see, business as usual. A project is unique. You may say to yourself, we've run similar projects in the past, but each project will be different in some way. Possibly the amount of expertise needed, the level of risk, the technology involved, the individuals, and so on and so forth. And the final piece is uncertainty. What this means is, of course, that projects will have risk. But PRINCE2 takes the view that risk can be both positive and negative. We're used in normal life of calling a risk something which has a negative impact. And this is true, and this is covered also. A risk is something which hasn't happened yet and may or may not occur at some point in its future. Therefore, it has an aspect of uncertainty. But there is a positive side to this as well, and it's called an opportunity. An opportunity may or may not happen at some point in the future. The difference here is that the impact is a positive one. Both negative threats and positive opportunities are bound by the common thread of uncertainty. So these differentiate between a project and business as usual. An example of business as usual might be, for example, a service group within a company. They provide some ongoing service as part of the company's business. Each day is different, but the service continues. The traits of a service would be that the manager of such a group would be trying to fine-tune it to deliver it in an effective manner, to minimize risk, and so on and so forth. You can see how that would be different from a project by virtue of the 5 characteristics I've covered here. The other aspect of a project is that it is cyclic. Typically, it would be started by creating a plan of what needs to be done, and that plan needs to be authorized by the appropriate persons. Then the work within the plan is delegated in the form of work packages. The project manager is now monitoring progress in the real world against the plan, and if and when necessary, taking some form of control, corrective action if you will, as an example, to bring it back on track, and hence modify or update the plan, and so the cycle continues. In PRINCE2, projects are split into at least 2 stages, so you can see that this plan, delegate, monitor and control sequence would occur within each stage. At the end of the first stage, you would plan the second stage, and then continue to delegate, monitor and control. So this is cyclic and continuous throughout any project. Now, project management is the planning, delegating, monitoring and controlling of all aspects of the project, and of course also the motivation of those involved in order to achieve the project objectives. Just stop there for a moment. Motivation. We're talking here about the soft skills of project management, and these are not included in PRINCE2, and quite right too, as the motivation skills, techniques and approaches would differ from project to project and organization to organization. So in the same way as Prince does not teach you how to create a house or an apartment or a building or an item of software and so on, PRINCE2 is not intended to show you management and leadership skills, although acknowledging that such skills are necessary for an effective project manager. Let's read on. So the project objectives need to be delivered within the expected performance targets of time frame, the cost or budget, the quality required, scope, if you remember that's what's included and what isn't, the boundaries of the project, the benefits, the business benefits to be realized, and the level of risk. So the plan, delegate, monitor and control are an ongoing cyclic activity within the project objectives, and here's the 6 we've mentioned. I'll talk more about that later. And just finally, I want to talk about a very important aspect, and that's that since projects are all about managing change, then there needs to be a balance. Imagine if a project is to implement a new and enhanced help desk facility within your organization. While the project is ongoing, you would want to maintain the current business operations. So whatever the situation is with the current help desk, we need to ensure that that isn't interrupted, or at least the interruption is kept at a minimum. While at the same time, the other objective of the project is to manage this operational change so that the new enhanced help desk can be embedded within business as usual. So I've touched on already the fact that a project produces business products, and that these products can be specialist in nature, but also of course they can be management products. Now in the PRINCE2 manual and the method of course, you would expect templates, if you will, of such products. An example might be the project plan or stage plan, and the structure of such products would be fairly consistent, although the level of detail would depend upon the nature of the project. So you'll find management products captured in Appendix A, and I'll summarize those later on. The other types of products, and those are the specialist products, as I've said already, Prince makes no attempt to tell you how to build a house, let alone create a house brick. But what it will do is it tells you exactly how such products should be structured in the form of product descriptions. And you'll find a template for such, again in Appendix A of the manual, and we shall cover that within the technique called product-based planning in a later module.